What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 21 of the Overview. I'm ChanManV, and I'm joined today by Fishstix, my co-host and caster and organizer of various Overwatch events across the community. And today we've got two guests. We've got Deva, actually all the way from Korea. He's a caster for esports now for a long time. Those of you that have been watching him recently, he's one of the top casters in the League of Legends space. But he's also been you've casted an Overwatch tournament, right? One Overwatch tournament.
I have not casted any Overwatch yet.
Not yet.
Soon,
guys. Yes,
maybe
soon. TM, right?
We'll see.
So anyways, welcome to the show. Definitely a pleasure to have you on. And InternetHulk, so he's the captain of the best Overwatch team in the world right now. I think I can safely say that, and no other teams would start bashing on me because they've just been winning everything, Team Envyus. So Hulk, welcome to the show, man.
Hey man, hi. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Well, we've got a ton to talk about today, guys. Blizzard started off the day announcing a new character, at least a preview of a character that's coming out, and then they let us know that they're going to put it on the PTR today too, as well as a bunch of patch changes too on the server. And where those patch changes included balance changes as well as just some global changes too, just to a lot of the characters. So we're going to talk a lot about that. We're going to spend at least a decent portion on that, and then we're going to talk about just news like we always do, event recaps like we do, and then we're going to spend some time with Deva getting the Asian recap of what's going on with Overwatch, and then lastly do a quick interview with InternetHulk since we have him on here. But okay, let's start off with Ana. So
wow.
Wow. So everybody was for a long time now, right? We've been talking about Sombra, and basically what we were talking about Sombra was that she was a healing sniper and all that stuff, and that's pretty much what she's ended up turning out to be. With a little bit of the sneak peek with that graphic they gave like last week, we could kind of tell that there was a little bit of offense involved with her too. So that's basically what she is. She's like a kind of a hybrid, mostly a healer. But let's talk about her abilities here. Let me bring this up real quick. Actually, this article doesn't show it, but first off, her normal shot is if you're targeting an enemy, you do damage, and if you're targeting a teammate, you heal. So she shoots these little vials, like these vials that inject some type of serum into you, and then her E is like a grenade that either does damage to the enemy and allows them to take and doesn't allow them to heal, or if you cast the grenade on your teammates, it heals them and allows for any healing to be boosted too. And then lastly, her ultimate is actually a single target ultimate that you cast on a teammate, and it increases their speed, increases their attack damage, and adds damage resistance to them. So yeah, anyways, first thoughts on Ana. Fishstix, I'll let you start.
Sure. Well, one of the things we've talked about on the show a number of times is that the support characters currently in the game don't really take a lot of skill to heal your teammates. It's either area of effect or you automatically lock onto them. And if you go back and look at previous games, previous FPS games that have these archetypes of medics and stuff like that, it's usually like a health pack that you throw at teammates that have to be picked up manually, right, or thrown at teammates manually. So obviously this is a character that is a skill-based healer. And it's even more so skill-based than, for instance, Enemy Territory or Wolfenstein, because you have to aim and hit your teammates. They could be jumping around, dodging and weaving against the enemies. So right off the bat, it seems like this character is going to have a pretty damn high skill ceiling, not only for dealing damage, but also for just healing your teammates as they're jumping around and dodging and weaving. So that's pretty cool. And she also has a couple of interesting area of effects abilities. The grenade that you talked about, I think, is going to change team fights fundamentally. I mean, once that's thrown into the middle of a fray, it's going to really force the enemies away from that point. I mean, I've been at work all day, unfortunately. I haven't had a chance to play on PTR yet, so I don't really know quite how wide the range is, how long it lasts, things like that. But it certainly seems like something that's going to affect a lot of team fights immediately. And that's just her E, right? So that comes back every 8 seconds, every 10 seconds, something like that. So she's going to have a lot of influence over the big team fights that happen.
I left off one ability too, guys, which is the shift.
Sure.
It's the sleep, which actually puts a single target to sleep. And
super fun.
does that actually interrupt ultimates, like for instance Reaper's ult?
Oh yeah, totally.
So it's kind of like a McCree flashbang in a way, right?
Or it's a way to stop McCree from across the map.
Yeah, it's like it, but it's really interesting because you don't wake up from the sleep until you've been damaged or it times out. And you stay asleep for quite a long time. Like I think it's 4 seconds or 5 seconds.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah. So when my experience, at least playing with Ana or playing against her, is that she uses it to get away and stop ultimates for the most part. So it's unlike the stun from say a McCree or a Roadhog, where you just can't do anything. Like you're gonna die. Like you just pretty much know you're gonna die. With sleep, you're not necessarily gonna die instantly, because you're on the ground, because the instant you get hit, you can take off, or you can, just do something, right?
So being damaged once you're asleep actually wakes you up.
Wakes you up instantly.
Yeah, it's like a lot of the CC in World of Warcraft, actually, where if you turn somebody into a sheep, they'll stay a sheep unless somebody hits them, and then they'll be immediately back to normal fighting ability.
But a hunter had a sleep as well.
A hunter? Yeah,
that's right. A lot like that,
Yeah.
Or like freezing trap or what have you, But it's really cool to see it in Overwatch. And like people are complaining a little bit about Ana's mobility, but Sleep Dart is really kind of her mobility ability, because it lets her get away from people that are about to kill her, like a Genji or something.
I think Fishstix, you talked about the skill cap being involved with like throwing the grenade and also like aiming, being Ana being a healer that actually needs to aim. I think also part of her skill cap will be she has no escape really. So like if a Winston, if she has probably, let's say, a Genji and a Tracer coming for a Winston, she will die. If it's only one Winston or Genji, she needs to sleep and run away.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of skill involved as well in positioning.
Yeah. So she does have a way to escape just with that sleep, but
basically 1v1.
Yeah, 1v1.
That's right. Other than 1v1.
The trailer was deceiving because they showed her on top of Anubis shooting down like Widow, right? So I'm like, where's the grappling hook? When I got in there, and I was like, what button is the grappling hook? And there was no grappling hook. So you cannot do that, guys. Those of you that haven't gotten a chance to go to PTR, you cannot grapple up to the top of buildings or pillars or whatnot. You will have to function mostly on the ground.
I mean, her positioning on maps is probably going to be pretty similar to Zenyatta, honestly, because Zenyatta kind of relies on those long, narrow corridors to fire down, and that's going to favor her as well. So I think in terms of like play style, it'll probably be pretty similar as far as like where you are on the map, Yeah.
Hulk, have you gotten a chance to play much of it?
Yeah, I played like 3 or 4 matches today on PTR. It was super fun. Yeah, I enjoyed her a lot. I feel like in the beginning, she felt really strong, but after like 4 matches, it felt like the damage and healing is not really that strong, but her abilities are super good. So I think she's in a good place. Yeah,
dude. Ultimate on a Genji ultimate. Oh man, I got wrecked so many times. Oh, Winston.
Winston Reinhardt are going to be the big ones, I think.
Oh, yeah,
Winston. No, I think Genji will be the most broken one. Like Genji with sword, and then it's like just throw Zenyatta up on top of it, and
we got wiped twice by that. Like when I played on the Sky, it was ridiculous. It's crazy good.
The most annoying thing with Ana that I've found so far is that like when I'm trying to finish somebody off and one of my teammates steps in front of my shot and I healed him accidentally, I'm like, no, get out of the way, I'm gonna kill that guy.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's hard to tell in PTR right now too, because I was playing quick play, so I didn't play in competitive mode just because I didn't know how many people were playing in it. So I had a lot of like 3-man Anas, 4-man Anas. I haven't gotten a chance just to play with this a single one. I'm sure it's quite different when there's a single one. Who do you think?
This is a character that's going to take team coordination because, as you said, Hulk, her abilities are really what sets her apart. But sleep, it's not. You can't actually kill somebody when they're asleep. It's going to be something that you use to knock someone out of a team fight, perhaps, or to use to escape. Her AOE abilities. It sounds like they're really going to be most useful when your team is coordinated, pushing as one, and you're collapsing on a fight as one. So most of her abilities seem to be highly team coordination based. I actually wonder how good of a healer she's going to be. It's going to be goddamn
It's-
difficult to heal. Like, let's say your Genji is going deep on enemy lines and is way in the back line. You know, she's a sniper and she's going to be able to heal Genji from really long distance, but it's going to be something that you only see out of really high skill players, I think. I mean,
I think
Hulk,
she
what do you
can-
think? Do you think her kit's really strong or weak or middle or too early to tell?
I think her kid is pretty strong. She herself is like probably situational. I can see her work way, way better on offense. And I think we'll see a lot more of triple, maybe even quad support, honestly. Because like Zenyatta is coming back as well. And I feel like the biotic grenade can actually counter Zenyatta. Like the Zenyatta will, the ulti got buffed, right? And you want your team to clump up in your ulti and move forward with Zenyatta and then be like unstoppable. But then you just throw a biotic grenade in and counter it completely. And then I think there's a lot of fun stuff. Also, I feel like there will be some finals where, you know, like teams duke it out and then you have like one other player in every team. And then you have like this the sleep dart and your team just gets the guy out of sleep and you just fuck up the team fight.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
You know,
I think like good Annas will, you know, like when you'll get in a good position, then when you see the enemy team pushing in, you'll like sleep the Mercy in the back line or something.
Yeah.
So she'll just like sit there. You know, you need to like take the people on the outside of the fight out where they're not going to get accidentally hit by your teammates.
Yeah.
But yet they need that person to stay alive to win that push. So I think that's what good Annas will get good at doing.
Or
Yeah,
even a Pharah who just used shift and just flew in the air.
Yeah.
If you catch her and she falls on the ground and you don't use...
I mean, you're a pretty awful mother at that point, but it works, right? It's,
the skill cap actually might, or the skill involved might be trying not to hit the Ana targets when they're asleep. That can be difficult sometimes in the middle of things. You know, one thing that I haven't gotten a chance to try out is that I think some people were saying that you can sleep somebody, maybe throw your grenade and then kill them as Ana. I'm not sure if that's enough damage or not, but I have heard of some people being able to just kind of combo that and pull it off.
There's a video on the competitive Overwatch subreddit right now that's sleep them and then you go left click melee grenade and supposedly it does around 200.
Okay. Wow. All right.
That's good. I mean, that's a good way to handle that Genji that's sneaking up on you, right? So
that's true. That's definitely true. So Ana, I mean, I think Ana is going to be something that people try out quickly. It might even be, Hulk, do you think that a lot of the Widow players are going to transition to this? Or do you think it's still more of a support kind of thing? Because it is
I think it's still more of a support. Yeah, I think it's still more of a support role, kind of. Like, you don't want your best aimer... Because, like, McCree, like, other characters are coming back that need a lot of aim too. Yeah. And... I don't know. I feel like teams are already set with their roles. For example, I'm playing Flags, and then I have like 2 support players, and it would be kind of weird to move a support player on offense right now, so we can have our Widow player on.
Okay. Well, not only did we get a new character, we got a lot of balance changes to mostly to characters that were getting very little love. Just I guess to put it nicely in the current metagame. And kind of going in order here, this is the patch notes that they released today. So I figured we just go in order here. Some general updates. So with overtime, they've actually, if the match goes more than 20 seconds of overtime, the fuse will start burning down fast. And then the actual player respawns will slow down. What do you guys think of this?
I think
this is a great change. Yeah, I mean, it's something that... I don't know, the competitive community has been somewhat vocal about their feelings about overtime for a while. But it's actually coming at an interesting time because we haven't talked about this yet. But along with these changes, all of these changes, there are so many balance changes, but also game type changes. Along with these changes, also they're implementing 1 hero limit in competitive.
Yep, that's the next
so
thing.
overtime was really the most annoying when you had 4 divas or 4 tracers. And that's not really possible anymore. So not totally sure if this change was necessary with the context of 1 hero limit. But I don't think anyone can really argue against the fact that like it shouldn't be possible to just extend overtime indefinitely at the end of matches. So I think it's a good change, but we'll have to play with it to make a final judgment.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest story here is that they're doing something, right? I mean, something needed to change with overtime. It couldn't like keep going indefinitely like it did. So I agree that like maybe it is a little bit too much since there's a 1 hero limit in competitive, but I don't know. I think it's good they're doing something.
Hulk, as a player, what do you think?
I think mainly 1 hero limit was the issue because of the Diva stack, but I mean, yeah, it seems pretty good. So yeah, pretty much what Fishstix said. So it doesn't like.
Oh, the Divas on Hanamura.
Go on forever.
No more of those.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's a beautiful video you made there, Hulk, or at least the video that was made of you doing it. Oh yeah, so let's talk about the 1 hero limit change to competitive mode. So this kind of marks a big statement, in my opinion, just from Blizzard, because for the longest time, and we talked like endlessly about this on this show and past episodes, they've always been about no hero limits. Stacking, this part of Overwatch is being able to switch characters and figure out, just what kind of combinations it is. And then it's up to the other team to adapt, right? So it started off with a change in the ESL Atlantic Showdown earlier this week where, they originally started with no hero limit, as well as just this interesting scoring system that wasn't stopwatch, but they decided to go with 1 hero limit at that point. And Nate actually made a statement, right, and posted it in Discord for us. So that was the first sign that maybe Blizzard's changing their minds. But this, I think, makes like a definitive statement that they have changed their minds in terms of hero stacking and things like that. And they obviously think that single hero, or at least hero limits, or single hero limits are basically the way to go for competitive Overwatch. So thoughts on that, Ben?
I'm shocked. I did not think that Blizzard was going to cave on this one.
I didn't.
At least
either,
not this
actually.
soon. I mean, I have a unique position because I know a lot of the people at Blizzard personally, and I really didn't see this one coming at all. Like I knew that a lot of folks on the Overwatch team were very insistent that the game was best played with no hero limits, and frankly, I've been ambivalent. I can see both sides to the argument. Yeah, the Diva spam was getting a little bit ridiculous. The Tracer spam on King of the Hill was getting a little bit ridiculous. But I ultimately, like, I think there's ways that they could have balanced it for maybe 2 hero limit, or just adding more characters might have mitigated things. But Blizzard came out with a huge statement here. Yeah. Maybe caving isn't the right word. That's too derogatory, but they've listened to the community, and this has been like probably one of the biggest things that the competitive community has been pushing for a long time now. But really, I mean, I just watch the games. I'm curious to know what Hulk you think about this. What does your team feel about 1 hero limit versus no hero limits? And did you guys enjoy playing with no hero limits? You're a big fan of this, I can see.
Yes. No, we didn't enjoy no hero limit. It was always kind of stupid, even in beta. What combos did we have? In beta, people played double McCree, double Winston. Yeah. It started off with like double Reaper, double Winston, double Lucio. Yeah. We kind of crushed it pretty early because we weren't the team that came up. I think the old Envy played us with it, and they crushed us the first day, but then the second day we countered it. But it's always something that I feel like it's just horrible to play against. It's horrible to watch, and it's probably horrible to cast. So, 1 hero limit was definitely needed. I'm surprised though that they implemented it for competitive. I only really, since I'm a competitive player, I only really cared for tournaments, I think. And I was saying, well, if Blizzard wants to, like everyone who wants to open Overwatch, play for fun, go into ranked mode, and if someone picks McCree, insta-locks McCree, and he cannot play McCree, but he only wanted to play McCree, he should be able to. But then again, I mean, if people want to play for fun, they can go to quick play, and ranked is more for players who want to rank up, I guess. So, yeah.
I imagine this will actually convert. There's a portion of competitive players who are probably just going to go back to quick play now, because there's a lot of people that only play Hanzo, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably true.
Well, we might not necessarily miss them, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Doa, as a caster, one of the things that I've always felt that a single hero limit was really good for is telling storylines, like who's the best Widowmaker in the world, or who's the best soldier in the world, and it allowed for that when you didn't have literally like 4 soldiers playing at the same time, 4 tracers playing at the same time. What do you think as a caster?
I think you would have still seen the cream rise to the top, no matter what, even if it was still, multiple of the same heroes allowed. But I think it just makes the game a lot less cluttered from a viewership experience. It certainly makes the game seemingly a lot more easily balanceable from a competitive sort of perspective. And as a caster, I don't know, it's just going to be so much easier to know that this guy is on this hero, and I don't have like 4 of the same hero that look the same, and I'm like trying to like read the name tag in the middle of a fight or something. It's like, as a caster, it'll be much easier, and I think it'll be better for the viewer too, just to kind of keep track of what's going on. And I think it's going to be more interesting from an analytical perspective, because when you force that 1 hero limit, you force teams to really, kind of put together playbooks and put together compositions for this point on this map or this point on this map. So it gives you so much more to talk about as a caster too. So I think it's great, and I'm glad Blizzard did it.
Yeah, I will say that the recent trend of double Zarya, like all the time on most maps, especially King of the Hill, that alone, has warmed me up to the 1 hero limit. Double Zarya is so annoying.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You're always in the Tobelstein.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Okay, well, moving on. Let's talk about some of the balance changes here.
Oh God, so many!
I know. Here we go. So
God.
the first one's a big one. The first one's a
But it
general
makes it
one
worse.
too. Yeah. So the first one's a general one too, and it says self-healing abilities now charge ultimate abilities. As a result, some heroes' ultimate costs have been adjusted, which we will see a little bit below. But that's a big deal. Like, obviously characters like Roadhog and Soldier, I mean, you're going to see them buffing, and hopefully these percentages are making up for it, but I have a feeling that they didn't make up, like, it's not an even makeup, in terms of probably the statistics. We'll have to see, but just from what I've been playing, I still feel like I'm getting the ultimates a little bit faster just with the 15 games I've played. What do you think of that, Hulk? Like, getting a chance to buff your ultimate just by healing.
I mean, the ultimate cost for Roadhog got increased by 45%, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think that makes up for it, but Soldier 10% seems like...
Yeah.
I think Soldier should get ulti faster now. So
Yeah. That's what I noticed.
Soldier, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, honestly,
yeah.
I don't think that this change is going to impact things a ton,
Yeah.
because theoretically they mitigated it so that everyone who has self-heal it takes more to build their ultimate. But I don't know. I kind of, in my head, I just liked the idea of, like, when 2 teams are posturing around a point, doing poke damage doesn't necessarily help your team. In fact, it can help the other team build their mercy res, build their ultimates, whatever.
Right.
Except the fact that when a Roadhog used his own self-heal that didn't build ultimate, I liked that, because I don't like the concept of poke damage without getting a kill is almost pointless in Overwatch. It's actually counterproductive in a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the fact that there were at least the characters that had self heals, like them healing themselves wouldn't build more ultimate. But I mean, ultimately, I don't think this is going to change things a whole lot. But I got to admit, just without trying it, I'm not a huge fan of this change.
Okay.
I don't think it'll change the game a whole lot in general. And as far as like poke damage not mattering, I don't know if I totally agree with that, just because the idea with poke damage isn't to do a little bit of damage and then it gets healed up and then do a little damage. It's to like do consistent pokes of damage to slowly push them away, right? So if you're doing the poke damage correctly, I feel like the fact that you're building ults at the same time doesn't really matter, because it's still more about positioning and posturing with your team rather than the actual damage that's being done. It's about like taking points on the map, I feel. So,
And like most poke damage right now, I mean, seeing that what's being played right now, mostly Pharah, is I don't think Pharah really tries to poke. Pharah really tries to like double hit 2 rockets in a row, and then the target is pretty much dead anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really get healed in between. You get boosted, so I feel like most poke kinda tries to get a pick more than just poke.
it should, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like
Yeah.
even if you poke like with a Soldier, you still poke with Soldier, Pharah, and something else in your team, and you try to like poke the same target and then kill it.
Right. Okay. Next one, the Bastian. The ultimate costs 10%. I mean, I think that's pretty good.
That's
The
good. His
Bastion
ult
tank's
is-
always strong, so
It
it's
might be like the best ult in the game, the most
Yeah.
But
underrated
Bastian
ult.
can
in the
heal
game.
himself, right?
Sorry?
So
Yeah, I think that's to mitigate the healing thing, because he
Yeah.
does a lot of
Oh yeah,
self-healing.
right.
Yeah.
no true. Okay, so well, the next one is Diva. Okay, so Diva, holy smokes, man! So I played a lot of Diva in the PTR, and these changes are huge to Diva. And I think this has a lot to do with just Diva wasn't getting played that much, maybe just across the board. But the changes that we're seeing, guys, Defense Matrix is one of the big things. It's a huge change. So instead of it being like your E now, it's your secondary fire button, which took me a second to realize that, by the way. I was like pounding on E from when I first got in there. I'm like, what the heck? But yeah, so you hold down the E now. It feels like a Reinhardt shield mixed with like a Pharah, the Pharah levitation. You just heard her spacebar. So imagine that. So imagine holding down the matrix, and you have this like bar that kind of runs down as you hold the matrix up. So you can actually flash it, or you can hold it down for a long time. You have the ability to do that. The cooldown's only a second now, or... Yeah, it's a second, right?
It's 1 second.
Yeah, it's exactly
I think it
1
should be
second.
reduced to nothing, though, because essentially they've made it sort of an alternative Reinhardt shield, in that it's something you put up, to soak damage, but you can't really use it like Reinhardt shield because it's got that 1 second cooldown. I was playing a little bit of her this morning before the show, and that felt like really awkward to me because I felt like they want Diva to kind of be sort of an alternative Reinhardt and get in there and block damage and be able to help your team push forward. But by having that 1 second cooldown, you have to like keep taking defensive positions and all that. So I kind of want to see that 1 second removed down to 0 like Reinhardt shield.
It could be too powerful if it had no like a 0 cooldown, because you could literally just tap it anytime a rocket's coming at you. Just tap it, or a Junkrat, grenade or something, and you're just like literally, just outplaying those characters.
They could fix that though by changing how fast it drains.
Okay, well that's half of it. So what do you guys think of the defense matrix change, Hulk?
I think I played Diva one match today on the PTR, and I like the change. I'm just not sure how much stronger it Diva, if that makes sense. Like I really enjoyed the change. Yeah. It's way cooler to play with your team. You can
It definitely
play
feels
a lot around
better.
the defense matrix. Yeah.
And
Diva has been good against Pharah in competitive also for a while, but Diva overall was just kind of lackluster. You always kind of wanted Winston over Diva.
Right.
So,
right.
I feel like she's got to be the Pharah killer now, right? Because you can just tap it for a split second, absorb a rocket while you're coming in, do some damage, and then when the next rocket comes in, tap again. I mean, I don't know. I need to play with it.
Is there enough time though? The 1 second?
Yeah, maybe there isn't enough time.
Yeah, that's where the 1 second comes in.
You could mitigate every other rocket, probably, right?
Yeah.
Every other rocket.
McCree's I think McCree's the Pharah killer now, but we'll get to that change later, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So the other change to Diva was, and I think this one's surprisingly a lot bigger than I expected it to be when I was playing today, but the ultimate costs 15% less, so you're going to be seeing a lot more. But on top of that, the explosion's delay is reduced from 4 seconds to 3 seconds. And then on end, Diva doesn't die from the actual explosion too, so she can literally just stand there now, right, and not have to run away
sad.
and do that. But what I've noticed, like when I was playing it, I could just like just boost right into there and almost kind of like Reaper style, and then just like throw down the nuke, and then a lot of people just could not get away in 3 seconds, or at least like maybe 50% of the folks couldn't get away versus like 100%. So for me, it went from being the worst ultimate to not the worst ultimate, which is a pretty big deal for Diva. I don't know. What do you guys think? Deva,
I think
or go ahead. Hulk. Actually, Hulk, go ahead. Yeah.
I think it's the big part about this buff is that she doesn't die from her own explosion. Yeah. So especially on point capture, when you're defending or attacking the point, you would just throw your ulti and everyone runs away, and while they're running away, you just like go in baby Diva mode, hunt them down and headshot them. It's like, I think that's pretty good. And I think that's the biggest change. I mean, the 4 to 3 second, I really didn't notice it, and I read up on the patch after I played her, so it's probably really good. But I still think people will be able to run away, but it's just that you're able to hunt them.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I like it overall. I like that it's a little bit harder to escape from, because it seems like in a match with good players, you would just never get kills with a Diva ultimate. Yeah. And even in a match with not so good players, if you got a kill with a Diva ult, you're like, whoa, I killed somebody with my Diva ult. That's amazing. But I'm a little bit sad that she doesn't die to her ult anymore, because it was kind of like a fun part of playing her. It was just like, oh no, I have to run and hide too. But I can see why they changed it. I don't think it's a bad change, but it'll make her just a little bit less fun to me.
Yeah. Can you imagine if there was hero stacking with Diva? Oh my goodness. It would be insane with all these nukes.
I can't wait to try Diva now. I
Yeah.
really like what they did with her defense matrix. Maybe the ultimate thing is more impactful, but I just think it's an interesting way to make her defense matrix more skill based. You're going to have the ability to read the situation and save defense matrix cooldown for later on in the same fight, which was not possible before. So I think that's really awesome, and anything that adds additional ability to exhibit more skill with these characters, I think, is going to be a good thing.
Well, that's absolutely right, man. Because I mean, the thing is that they didn't change how you can play Diva now. You can still play her the same way you play her now, but they just added more ways to utilize her, which is great.
She actually just feels better. Like it's hard to describe, Ben, but then the moment you play her, you'll know what I mean. It's just her whole matrix just feels more natural.
It's very different.
The way you actually use it now, it just feels more natural than it used to be. And
It always felt like whenever I use defense matrix, it's like, oh my god, I'm stuck in this defense matrix. It lasts so long. I just wanted to block this, and now you're stuck. And now you can actually like use it way more often. And
right.
You're not stuck in it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely good. All right, next up, Lucio. Just some basic something to make up for the self-heal. McCree. Okay, so McCree now, they changed Peacekeeper to, I believe, what it used to be, right? Which was full damage at longer distance. Maybe not completely the old one, which was, I think it was full damage just any distance. That was probably the original one. But it's a much longer distance, something comparable to Soldier at this point, which is huge. I mean, this is like great against things like Pharah and maybe Hanzos and things like that.
The new McCree feels so good to play. I played him a little bit on the PTR, and you can actually. Because when you play McCree, you want him to be like a mid-range sniping kind of character, I feel like, with the left click. And now I can like finally do that. And where everyone on the other team is playing Ana and Zenyatta right now, it's just like a field day for McCree's left click. It's great.
Hulk, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't play him on PTR yet, but I think it's... I'm not sure how long is the range, though? Like...
I don't know, but it feels really long.
It is long.
It feels long.
Yeah.
So McCree is probably... sees a lot of play soon, and I mean, McCree's actually the only character that if he gets the new Mercy boost, which is like 50%, he will be able to one-shot people with 200 HP with headshots. That's crazy.
For Zenyatta,
totally nuts.
That is nuts. And we're gonna see something with Soldier a little bit lower too. That might mean McCree replacing Soldier in a lot of these comps that we're seeing too.
Especially with Soldier's nerfs,
Yeah, exactly. All right, Mercy's next. So these are pretty interesting. And there's one actually I really just been wanting for a long time, which is Guardian Angel. First off, Caduceus Staff. So the damage boost has been increased from 30 to 50%, which is
how it was when the game the beta launched.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
In line with that, man. This is crazy. It's in line with that, in line with Discord, just that whole, just the aspect of it. This was way too powerful before it went in beta, so I'm really surprised that they're bringing this back. And I didn't actually think it was needed. Hulk, did you feel like Mercy damage boost was too weak?
No, I think it was okay. This might be okay too, but I didn't do the math on most characters yet. I only know about the McCree, so I'm not sure if it makes a lot of difference for Pharah. Obviously, Pharah does way more damage to tanks then, but she still needs to two-shot all the other characters, and she already one-shotted Tracers, so I'm not sure if it makes a huge difference, but obviously, gonna be
great. There's gonna be a lot of happy Pharahs and Soldiers, or just whatever DPS characters that they're boosting, even Reapers, right? Even recently.
I don't know if I'm a fan of this. I mean, Mercy is already almost a must pick based on just her ultimate. They made her slightly better, her ultimate slightly better in that she can survive it, which I think is awesome. Totally great. She shouldn't have to die every time she uses her ultimate. That's great. But this just like, it already sucks getting hit by like a random Mercy boosted spam rocket from around a corner anyway. but it's just going to hurt that much more. And I don't know. Well, we'll have to see. It seems. I mean, I remember what it was like in the first phases of the beta when it was 50%, and it was pretty intense. And the main reason they nerfed it was because Widow and Mercy were able to one-shot body shot people, which was too much. But I don't know. This seems like a bit much to me. And if you actually watch the Yahoo esports video, the interview that they did with Scott Mercer, he basically says that, paraphrasing, that they did this because in a lot of cases it was better for the Mercy just to pull out her pistol and shoot, and they wanted her to be damage boosting instead, which is a kind of interesting justification for it. But I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
I kind of wish they would have went the other way, like boost her pistol damage, because I think that would have made her a more interesting character to play, where you really had to make that decision, you know. But yeah, I don't think the damage boost is really necessary per se. And I mean, you talk about like Junkrat getting boosted as well. He's just going to be spamming grenades and stuff. And if you look at like this change along with like what Ana can do with like stopping healing altogether for a short time and all that, it just seems like if these changes go live, and I don't think the Mercy change is going to, I would imagine they're probably going to change it or reduce it. But if these changes were to go live today, I think you would just see games where people just die a lot faster in general.
Yeah, which I'm not sure is a good thing. But speaking of people dying and her resurrecting them, ultimate charge is going to be increased by 30%, which I think is
good.
It's definitely
I'm so
a good
for
thing.
that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I saw way too many reses. And or people just getting better. People have gotten better with Mercy just over time, right? Ever since the whole radius change. So definitely needed something to adjust for that. Movement is no longer prevented during activation, so that's good. Definitely good. It's kind of what you were talking about, Ben. But the thing I like the most is Guardian Angel instantly resets. So I really like that because it just drove me crazy that I just couldn't fly whenever, just whenever I was like in trouble. A lot of times after I'm just trying to get away from a Tracer or a Genji or something like that. So this will make Mercy even harder to kill, and that's a great thing for a lot of support players out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how many times have you like been trying to Guardian Angel over to somebody to heal him or like to get away from something, and like your Genji just happens to dart across in front of you right when you hit it, and you go to him, and you go like 5 meters, and then you have to wait for the cooldown and you die. Yeah. It's going to be nice to not have that happen anymore.
Yeah. At least a nice quality of life type of thing. Okay, next up, Roadhog. Just another adjustment for this. This one's pretty close. I didn't really notice too much of a change with the ultimate for Roadhog. All right, Soldier 76. So this is an actual nerf to Soldier 76, one of the few nerfs that we've seen. So the heavy pulse rifle, the spread recovery will actually begin after a short delay, which for folks that don't really understand it, with Soldier, all the great Soldier players, what they do is they fire 4 shots, right, and then they stop for like a split second, and then start up firing 4 shots again, and you get this nice little pulse. And with Soldier shooting straight, like literally hitting, you just almost a hit scan with that. Versus when you hold it down past 4 bullets, you start spreading and you start having a radius of shots. So this is going to just kind of mess up the tempo, right, of the pulsing, the actual pulsing. I haven't actually gotten a chance to figure out how much of a change it's been, because I played Soldier maybe once. But Hulk, have you tried Soldier since on PTR at all?
No, I have not. Does this mean though, if you mess up, if you shoot more than 4 bullets, it will cover after like a few seconds, so you kind of mess up. But if you like, let's say you only shoot pulses of 3 bullets all the time,
right?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right?
Yeah,
I wonder.
Yeah, so it's only bad if you go over. If you stay still within the 4, then it's okay. Yeah, actually that's probably right.
So it might not actually punish like good Soldier 76 players all that much, but I haven't tested it myself, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, that's a good point. I wonder.
Yeah, it's probably a very small nerf then. It's not too bad, at least from the pro standpoint. All right, Tactical Visor. So this is the one that I think probably isn't adjusted correctly, just the 10%, because the ults seem to be charging up a little bit faster than the normal when I was playing it. But we'll have to see. how that ends up going. Zenyatta, we've got Zenyatta. I feel like is the other character that got
this is
just
a big one.
crazy
Oh my God.
boosted.
Hooray!
Yeah, Diva
Praise
and
Blizzard.
Zenyatta, right?
Hey, by the way, I just want to interject and say that
Yeah.
I believe that we talked about this exact, well, not not the Transcendence changes, but
Yeah.
the other changes, more or less.
I think everybody's been asking for this
Yeah.
stuff for a
Yeah.
long time.
I mean, it's like kind of a no-brainer. It's just Zenyatta is so squishy, but now he's got 50 extra HP. He's got 200 HP,
Yeah.
just like everyone else, and it's 150 shields as well. So basically, like Zenyatta can get almost killed, and then back off and heal fully just from his shields. But of course, guys, you probably all know this if you're tuning into this podcast. You're probably pretty hardcore, but Zenyatta was really a glass cannon. He was a healer that could heal at a decent rate, but his Discord orb also made it so big, tanky heroes went down super, super fast. But he was so weak that a Winston could jump on him. If you hit the Winston jump, and Hulk knows this very well, if you hit the Winston jump and start shocking, Zenyatta died in about 3/4 of a second. So now he's brought into parity with all the other 200 HP characters, which is crazy because he actually does a ton of damage for a support. He does more damage than any other support by far. So all of a sudden, to me, this change alone makes me feel like he's going to be used on attack very frequently. But this is not the only change that was introduced at all. They also buffed Transcendence, his ultimate, in 2 different ways. They made it so when you're using Transcendence, you move twice as fast, which is
so
kind of crazy.
fast.
You're going to
It's
see
so
Transcendence just like zipping around. But it also heals 50% quicker. So it already healed really fast. So people within your radius are basically going to be invincible, and you're going to be moving faster. So Transcendence is just going to be so powerful now.
I mean, that's kind of the
Yeah.
idea.
You still die to tires, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You're still
that's
gonna die to
yeah,
tires, but
That's there's a big difference
not-
between
not
invincible
much
and that,
else.
Yeah, right. And one little thing too, where just the speed of the orbs it's almost instant at this point. Like you barely
I'm
even see the
really
balls.
happy about that
You
one,
barely
actually.
even see the balls go out now. It's just like instant heal, instant Discord, which is
That's actually the one I'm the most happy about.
oh,
I think that's
okay.
Because-
huge.
Yeah, I think it's huge too.
Yeah.
Definitely. And
Zenyatta's been like my main support since I started playing Overwatch, and it's been like there was definitely a steep learning curve where I just like died constantly, but once you start to get your positioning good and your aim gets good, he becomes so strong. Like I play him on attack on everything when I play competitive, and it's so now I agree that like on the pro level he's probably going to start getting picked more, but he was already like I think one of the most underrated characters in the game. He was just a little bit too fragile.
well, picked more. I
Yeah.
mean, there was one whole weekend, I believe, that he was not picked a single time, which is the only character. Even Hulk didn't pick him. Okay, Hulk picks everybody. All right, so Hulk didn't even pick him, but that says definitely
Think you're
says
going
a
to pick
lot.
him now?
No.
No.
Oh, come on, man. Well, with Anna coming out, I don't know.
I'd rather
But
go Messi or something.
I think I almost feel like they've gone a little bit too far. I mean, I've said it probably half dozen times on the show. I'm in total support of a support character that can actually frag, and that's what Zenyatta is now. But I feel like they almost went a little bit too far. We'll have to see. But I guess kind of the silver lining here is that Mercy got probably a buff.
Definitely a
Zenyatta's gotten a buff.
Yeah.
Anna seems really interesting. So in previous months or weeks or months, it was basically like, oh, you pick Mercy and Lucio, and that's it.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, I think you're going to start to see a lot of diversity in the supports picked, as they're all looking kind of interesting all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Except Symmetra.
Except
Symmetra.
Well, Symmetra is still
Well,
very
yeah.
situationally.
That's the next
I don't
one.
know.
That's the next
Well,
one.
she's fun on certain maps.
I think she's
Yeah.
Symmetra's like the capture point on defense.
I kind of want to point out though, Zenyatta is not just like the best DPS support. I think she's actually one of the best DPS heroes. in the
Yeah,
game.
I actually
Even
think.
though like she's
yeah.
crazy strong, like
Yeah.
so much. The damage is insane. I think.
Yeah, that left click can actually
Yeah.
do quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, with Lucio, I mean, it's actually pretty awesome.
Lucio
It's not
used to
getting
be with like super high damage.
No, I mean when
Yeah.
you're
back
speed,
in
when
the,
you're
the
speed,
golden days.
when you're speed boosting Symmetra, it's freaking amazing, actually. Yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting. So you don't think Zenyatta's going to be played at all, like in Hulk? Like you still would prefer
No.
Mercy over, or
No.
Oh, okay.
No, just me personally.
Oh, you
I
personally,
prefer-
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, I
good.
think Zenyatta will see a lot of play. I think
Yeah.
yeah, I think we definitely will play Zenyatta a lot. I mean, we have one of the best Zenyatas in our team.
Mhm.
We used to play Zenyatta a lot, Chips Hine,
Chip.
but now he's stuck on Mercy because Zenyatta wasn't that viable with 150 HP.
Oh,
But I think with this change, I'm pretty sure Zenyatta also defense. Honestly, I think defense. I personally always, I don't even want to play Lucio or like with Lucio in my team. I think Lucio is not that strong, but it's literally just a speed buff. The ultimate charge is too slow. He doesn't do a lot of damage, and I prefer playing something like Mercy on Zenyatta. I really want to make this work, but those changes, I'm pretty sure.
The only thing with Zenyatta on defense still is that if he dies, it takes a long time to get back to the point. But maybe because he's dying less, that shouldn't be as much of an issue, I guess.
Yeah.
I see him being a complete game changer in like every team fight now. You're just if there's a Roadhog, you're gonna just put the Discord orb on him, call it out to your team, say, hey, Discord's on Roadhog, and now previously Zenyatta would have to be behind the wall somewhere way back there, and Winston could kill him by blinking. Now he's actually going to be in the fray. He's not going to die instantly. Discord is going to melt tanks. It's going to melt Genjis. It's going to melt Tracer. It's going to melt everybody. So yeah, Zenyatta's crazy now, I think.
His
Also,
attack.
I think.
Go ahead.
Doesn't Anna's grenade just like counter Zenyatta's ult though?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So that might be an answer we see popping up pretty quickly too.
It definitely seemed to be. In some ways, guys, I feel like Zenyatta's attack. I almost think Zenyatta's attack mix with Discord is so strong that he's almost miscategorized. It's only because he has heal, I feel like, that he's support. But I mean, he's almost an offensive character, and because of that, I almost feel like his actual attack is a little too strong. They haven't done anything with his right click though. Like thankfully nothing's been done with the right click. But the right click nobody even uses at this point. So
it's because it's like categorically worse than anything else you can do in nearly every situation.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting if they take a look at that as a way to maybe balance him a little bit more, if needed. We'll have to see how it turns out. But definitely excited. Zenyatta's been one of my favorite characters for a long time, and just haven't been able to play him. All right, well, I
just play him anyway, man.
I have, but then I just
play him anyway.
It's just tough though whenever you run into Winstons and Genjis and Tracers and everybody. They're just all over you. Okay, I think that's going to be it for the patches, the patch changes. I don't know. Any last comments on it? Anything that?
Dude, it's just good to see Blizzard getting super active again. In the beta we had constant patches and updates. Obviously, they were very clear that it's going to slow down in the main release. But hey, look, they addressed the overtime issues. They're moving to 1 hero limit. The ESL tournament, which we're going to talk about in a second, is now going to use stopwatch on payload maps. They're addressing the facts that Diva's underpowered. So again, I'm going to come back to this common theme that Blizzard is totally listening to the competitive community and the community at large, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just great, and I mean especially the 1 hero limit and competitive. I think I've talked to the team a lot, or at least certain members of the team, and they've always seemed very receptive to feedback and always asking for it, but more so always just like saying straight up, we don't know what the best format to play Overwatch competitive is going to be. We think it's this, but we're willing to change that. And this instance really shows that they are willing to make big changes. And I think that's great. I think there does need to be a lot of experimentation that has to be done before we really find out the best way to do Overwatch competitively. So it's cool to see.
Thumbs up for 1 hero.
So
that was enough.
I hate to do it. It's your show.
What
Chris,
is this?
We are halfway through the show, and we have so much.
No, we're going. We're definitely going. We're definitely going.
Let's cruise.
So real